Well, after the fight night that just concluded this Saturday, we definitely got a lot of answers. Let's start off with the main event. Hill was in the beginning trying to have like a low kick battle or go tit for tat with Khalil Roundtree, which he continued to do later in the fight. Not really opening up, using his tools with the boxing and trying to find counters, even some forceful counters, because, if you're losing most of the rounds and you're going into rounds 4 and 5 and you're down, you got to start doing something significant, especially, Hill started getting dropped. He got dropped like twice, I believe. One was like, I think, a lead hook, and then something else was down the pipe, got dropped. He got dropped quite a few times, not with just head strikes, but with the low kicks that made him fall off balance a little bit. But that was such a beautiful display. But going for a low kick battle with somebody with a strong Muay Thai base like Khalil Roundtree, which is very stupid. You got to take advantage of what you're good at, your boxing, your counters, the angles you come off of. Maybe even pressure him, because we saw Khalil Roundtree very comfortable at that kicking range, and he's made a lot of adjustments in that fight from Alex that we've seen. He tries to control his pace more. He's trying to win the rounds. He's not trying to kill you like a wrecking ball, like I said in my breakdown, which is great to see. This is what champions do. They worry about winning the rounds, and they let the finish come to them. But he didn't force much boxing exchanges, so it was easy for Khalil to pretty much kick him up. He was switching up from outside leg kicks, inside thigh kicks, calf kicks, and just completely destroying the leg to the point where Jamal Hill couldn't even stand up. He was like, it looked like he was putting pretty much all that weight in the forward leg in orthodox, switching his stance and everything. It was brutal to watch. But he just looked like he wasn't ready for those kicks of Khalil Roundtree. Maybe he underestimated the kicking ability of Khalil, which you can't really do at this level. But as far as in what's next for Khalil, I don't know. Like, do you give him like a Carlos Ulberg? Because Ulberg's not like set to have like a title shot. Neither is Yuri. Well, actually, maybe Yuri can, because, actually, no. Because Magomed's going to be fighting Alex in a rematch. So maybe we see a Khalil Roundtree versus Yuri, or Khalil Roundtree versus Carlos Ulberg, which would be pretty cool. Judging on how Ulberg is, a lot, for the most part, like a outside fighter, could definitely be an interesting matchup. But great main event. I had fun watching it. Now let's move on to the co-main event. Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio. Now this one surprised me a lot. I thought I was going to see more technical setups from Ignacio, and it seemed like he was just looking for, that highlight reel KO, spamming these kicks, these head kicks, and the head movement and reaction time of Fiziev was phenomenal. I enjoyed the slower tactics, of Fiziev and them trying to set things up. I can enjoy a tit-for-tat match. He kept his game plan, landed more volume to attack off the rounds. Also, mixing in some takedowns, which was dangerous because Ignacio just scored a submission victory on Jalen Turner not too long ago. He's very long and he's very dangerous off the back. So I was very scared for Fiziev, but Ignacio kept his spam in the kicks with not too much of a setup. Even though he might have been gaining a little bit of momentum in the last round, finding his way, this is a 3-rounder. It's not a 5-round main event. But at this level, you can't really bank on just landing a crazy head kick KO. That's just not going to happen. I mean, especially when your highlights are spinning wheel kicks and, head kicks, front kicks I've seen, I believe, on some of his highlights. Rafael Fiziev is going to be more than ready. But in my opinion, I think Rafael should definitely move down to featherweight. Of course, he can handle a lot of competition up here, but I feel like his size, a lot of these guys like Ignacio are like 6 foot and above, cutting down from 170, 180 to 155. And Rafael Fiziev doesn't really cut much. He's pretty much almost around that weight at all times, which is going to be a disadvantage if he fights at lightweight. Featherweight, he could feel a lot more powerful, fight guys more his size. I mean, look at what Buckley did. He went from middleweight to welterweight, went on a 6-0 tear, and pretty much had a title contenders fight just by switching down to a weight class he fit at, as far as in his strength and everything. But what's next for him? Not too sure. We'll see. I mean, he was, I believe, 0-3 technically, even though he got injured for one of those losses. And then he lost 2 to Gaethje. The The most recent Gaethje fight was on short notice, to be fair, but I mean, he did already have a camp for him before, so Gaethje just might have his number. But I'm happy to see Ignacio come back, see what he can do. He's only 27, so he's only going to get better. He's very young, so I'm excited to see what is next for Ignacio. On to this disgrace of a fight. Now, in the first round, it seemed like he was doing pretty solid. He didn't really get too many takedowns. I mean, he was 2 for 15 on takedowns. But it just shows that heavyweight is one of the most, skillless divisions until you get to, the top 3, top 4. Because I've never seen something where, someone's getting out-damaged like this in multiple rounds, in rounds 2 and 3, and they still lose. Ineffective takedowns, ineffective control. There was nothing really saying that Curtis Blaydes won that fight. I'm really shocked that he actually won that fight somehow. I don't see how you can give him rounds 2 or 3, especially the damage he took in rounds 2 and 3. And pretty much Rizvan stuffed most of the takedowns, damn near almost everything he tried. So he didn't really get him down. There was no control. There was no big moments. There was no clinch work. He was trying to show off some improved boxing. He was using more head movement, trying to box a little bit more. And rounds 2 and 3, Rizvan definitely found more of his flow. I mean, this is a top 5 heavyweight facing somebody who is never fought in the UFC besides the Dana White Contender Series, which is really sad to see. A top 5 heavyweight can't even hold his own against somebody from the Contender Series that has never fought high-level competition. Is not really that good for the heavyweight division. But, hey, Tom Aspinall is our heavyweight champion. So, hopefully we get to see him face Gane or whoever else is up next to get this heavyweight division up and moving. It's been stagnant for a very long time. But let me know what you guys think about the decision, because I definitely saw it. I'm not saying he dominated or something, but I definitely think Rizvan was outworking him with the boxing and definitely had more damage, and that's the main judging criteria, is going to be the damage. This fight I unfortunately missed. My stream did cut out, but for the most part I was terrified for Orobai because, this guy coming from Rizin, which, Yuri Prochazka did as well. He had 18 KOs out of his last 20 fights. And Orobai took a significant amount of damage in his last fight. So I wasn't sure how his chin will hold up or, if he can get hurt early on. But for the most part, from what I heard, this guy was trying to do a lot of takedowns. He got, for the most part, he got fraud checked. And got caught in a Kimura for the most. That's at least what I heard. He got controlled in half guard, then got caught in a Kimura. I really wanted to see this fight because I've been hearing a lot of hype around his name. So I definitely wanted to see that fight. I unfortunately missed it. But let's move on to my vote of fight of the night. Moda versus Nazim. Man, this fight was crazy because Nazim almost ended up getting finished, I believe, in the first round. And it was kind of scary. I was like, damn, they about to end it. But they didn't, and he was able to defend himself just enough where the ref, didn't stop the fight. But not only did he just bite down on the mouthpiece he was using his kicks, he was getting up close, making it very dirty, using the clinch, his elbows, his knees. I mean, the way he was switching up all these weapons, man, it was very brutal, and he made it dirty, but also kept technique, setups, all in the same time. Is very scary for the lightweight division, though. That is definitely terrifying. I mean, if you're able to fight like that and also keep it very, technical and have great setups and have deadly accuracy, I mean, man, that is terrifying. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Nazim fight again sometime in the future. And I think that was my favorite fight of the whole main card out of all of them. I really had fun with the co-main, watching that one. That was pretty cool. Got Fiziev back in the winning column. But man, he lit this guy up. And, Mata did not go down at all. It was very hard for him to even get him down in round 2. He lasted through a lot of damage. So respect to both of these fighters. Because, he could have gave up so much earlier in that fight when Nazim was starting to pick up momentum with everything he was landing. But definitely fight of the night, in my opinion. But I ain't gonna lie, this fight was okay. I mean, there wasn't really much going on in this fight. The only thing I can remember was Muhammad landed like a crazy spinning wheel kick, and Grod got it down to the ground. And for the most part, it was a mid fight. It was okay. I don't really think it's a robbery, wrong decision, or nothing like that. Probably that moment in that fight probably won him that round, I believe, because nothing significant happened on the ground. But, well, that's my little recap of the most recent UFC Fight Night. And, hey, it is going to be fight week pretty soon for Charles and Ilya Saporio. So definitely looking forward to doing some content on that. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below.